Welcome back. I am here to tell you about the shoot that I did with my friend Sulli. We did a hair-inspired editorial creative shoot, and we're breaking down the different lighting setups that we did for each of those looks. So without further ado, let's get into it. The lights that I was using in this studio setup, they're the Aputure D302 lights, which are constant lights. Different from a strobe where the flash is going off all the time. These lights are just always on. They're super user-friendly because you can see exactly what you're getting right in the moment. Similar to like just the light that I'm using for this lighting setup for my YouTube channel. It's just a light that's always on, which is great. Now, most of the time people feel like these lights are better for video, and it's true, they're great for video. But I've also found that if the light is bright enough and has enough power, that it's great for photos too. And if you're someone that likes to take photos and videos in tandem and be able to capture the same thing roughly with your photos and videos, I feel like using a constant light is a really great way to go because it's gonna give you the most similar looking imagery between your photos and videos. For this second look that we did, I took basically a thick paper like a cardstock, and I cut out hearts of different sizes, and then I held them up to his head. I used this temporary hair dye spray, and I sprayed it on to the stencil and put hearts just like all over his head in different spots. It was really fun. I definitely learned a lot through the process of just how to apply the spray and how much you have to really press the stencil on so that it doesn't bleed out. And we also learned about this hairstyling product is like a little bit harder to get out than you would think. It sort of stains your skin when you're washing it off. So, with every creative shoot, you're always learning something new, but it was fun to just experiment and try something creative that I'd never done before. In the last video, I talked about using two lights. There's just one light in this setup, and the modifier is the light dome that you can get for these Aputure lights. It's about 3 feet in diameter. So it's a pretty big softbox, and it just has one panel of diffusion on the outside, which is sort of like an opaque, clearish panel that covers the light that's coming out from this light. It looks very nice and natural and soft. It's interesting to compare to the last light setup because that light modifier had no diffusion. It's just coming straight out of the light, almost like a bare bulb. And so the shadows are a lot harsher. The look is a lot more intense and contrasty, and overall just has a very different feel to it. So the light dome was the main light source. The angle of the light is really important for this one. So I wanted the light to feel kind of overhead and heavy, creating shadows underneath the eyes and the chin and the nose. And I wanted it to feel like it was coming from above, not from the side or from the front or from below. So that was why I had it kind of up overhead and more like right on top of his head to get that kind of effect. I had also pulled him probably about 5 feet away from the white wall that he had been standing in front of in the last shot. If your subject is right up against a backdrop or a wall and the light is hitting more of that background, it's gonna look whiter and brighter or more true to the color that it actually is. Whereas if you pull your subject forward and further away from the background, the color of that background is going to change because there's less light hitting it. So here are some of the photos. I'll show you first some of the film photos that we took. At this shoot, I was using my film camera and my digital camera pretty much in tandem the whole time to really practice getting the most out of my film camera. And what I love about some of these film shots, just the contrast and the look of them is really cool. In one of these shots, you can also see that the light is in the frame, so you know where it is placed in relation to him, which I think is helpful. But I also kind of liked it as, sometimes when you're taking photos of somebody, it's kind of fun to see like elements of the set. In a way, it just gives like a, kind of like a cool behind the scenes look to the photo. Here are some of the digital images. So when I processed these, I used sort of a film simulation filter to give it this kind of like bluish tint. The wall obviously was not blue, it was a white wall, but it is cool how just the way that you push the colors in a photo can do a lot to make the overall image look a certain way. And that's pretty much it for this light setup. It's just one light with a light dome, nice, soft overhead light, and having Sulli pulled away from the wall by about 5 or 6 feet really made the backdrop fall off and feel more like a gray backdrop than a white wall. I'm really happy with how these pictures turned out, and I feel like it went well with the way that it was styled and just giving it a more moody feel. As always, make sure to like and subscribe and keep following along for more content like this. Cheers.